me tell you something. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I walked in, I was going through crazy times. And after that, and like just the process of directing everything back into myself, just that alone, I was like, and you think I'm going to let you, and whoever else take that piece away from me?
Yeah.
I will never in my life give power to another person. Never in my life. And I learned that through training. Never, ever, ever. If I was able to gain myself and pull my together, then no way in hell I'm going to let you take me out of my peaceful bliss. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to know nothing. Leave me alone. I'm working on myself. I don't care how you feel about me. Like, it's one of those things.
Oh my gracious.
Even back in high school, Jennifer inspired more than
Cambié la imagen por vender bitcoins.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga.
Remember that like TGIF where they had like Family Matters?
Of course. Of course. That was great times.
That was my.
Of course. Of course.
That's when I was you know what's so crazy? Like I don't have TV now. Like
me neither.
I don't have TV. I have
a
Netflix.
TV.
I have Amazon.
I don't really watch TV.
But you have like memberships, like.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So but for some reason, because I don't know, like it's so weird when people come to my house, they're like, why don't you have TV? I'm like, because I have memberships. Like I just don't have it. But back in the day, I was glued to the TV.
Same.
I didn't watch cartoons. That wasn't my thing. But I watched like the Saved by the Bell, the Family Matters,
So
the
I
Fresh
watched
Prince.
the action figure cartoons.
Which was what?
Like X-Men, G.I. Joe, stuff like that. And then that was a little younger. And then as I got into like a teenager, I was watching, at my time, it was like Nickelodeon night, like Clarissa. Or
Nick at Night.
Yeah, it was like Boy Meets World.
That was my Dawson's Creek.
Full House. That was a little older.
Yeah,
at that age, I wasn't watching TV at that age anymore. That's when it stopped for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Were you just like...
So one, I was always working. I always worked.
What age did you start working?
The concept of working with money, very young. Like
summer youth days? Like
even younger than that. Because my father used to bring me to work. He was a super. And he used to give me like half his job to do. And then he would pay me. And it was his weekend gig. And I would just go and help him. And that was like one of the earliest concepts of work and making money that I can remember. Even earlier, like I used to make like bracelets.
So you was a baby entrepreneur.
Since baby. I was, I would go with my mom to like this craft store. She was into crafts. And she also had her own store. She used to like
But where was this?
This was in Brooklyn, in Bay Ridge.
Dope.
And I would want like the bracelet making kit because you can make tons of bracelets. And then I was like, I might as well sell these for like 10 cents, a quarter. And I used to sell them for that much, 10 cents and a quarter. And that was very young. That was maybe...
And you had like customers. Like you
I had all my friends, all the kids in the neighborhood.
Fire.
All the kids in the neighborhood.
That's dope. Damn, baby entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Baby Tina.
I always had that mindset. I always had that, just how to make something out of something. Like if I feel like if I see it, I feel like I can do it and I can just somehow just make a business out of it.
But so you saw that in your family.
Yes.
That comes from somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Like you're not just like
my mom.
Your mom?
My mom, she was a homemaker, so she was super crafty and she used to make all my clothes like matching. And she used to do like these school fairs, like these like crafty dolls, and she was super popping. Like they loved her dolls. They were like these weird, I shouldn't say weird, but they were like these crafty, antique-looking dolls that she would make from scratch. So she would be sewing the pattern, and who's up stuffing it with cotton? Me.
Oh, so she was training you.
Yeah, not knowing it, I'm pretty sure I was just helping her. I was helping her, and
yeah.
I was super happy to help her. And I never took it as like com- like a complaint. I actually liked it, and I liked to do it good. And
Would you say you were competitive growing up?
you know
I don't know
what?
why I feel like you have like a competitive
I
nature to you.
have good sport competitiveness,
Okay.
right? I want to be great at what I do or be the best at what I do, but if you're like better, then cool. Like that don't
Right,
got
right.
nothing to do with me.
Right.
So yeah, I'm competitive and maybe it's more with myself, but I'm okay with if you're great at doing that. I don't have to be great at everything. I don't have to whatever, but I know that it has to feel like great to me.
Yeah,
And that's what always
yeah.
mattered to me. So I never was like super competitive. It was I just wanted to be great. And it didn't matter, what anybody else around me was doing. It wasn't like one of those races.
Yeah,
I was always like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna do it, and this is how I'm gonna get there, no matter what it was. It was almost with everything in my life.
That's so funny. I was always competitive growing up because I have two sisters that I grew up with, that my immediate sisters.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my sisters, she ran the marathon. She did a triathlon?
Yes,
Is that
yes,
triathlon?
yes.
Never, I was not like the active sister, but for some reason I'm like, I want to do that. But it was like my competitive nature that I'm
But
like.
that's fire, though. That's why it's. But that's fire, because you know why? This is why when you're with people, when you hang out with people who are doing, it makes you, even if
You
it's
wanna
competitive, right?
Yeah.
That's fire. This is why my mom always said, "You tell me who you are. Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are." Because who you have around you, like really. Reflects on how you feel and what you want to get into, or maybe motivates you. You know what I'm saying? If you have an open mind to wanting to just try different things and whatever, why not? In a healthy way. I think everybody great has that trait with everybody, just like from day to day people. Like they have to have that trait. Like they want to do better, but
Who was like your core, like growing up? Like who was the people that were around you?
still to this day, my father.
Your daddy's girl?
Yeah and no. It's super weird. Yes and no. It's not mushy daddy's girl.
Yeah.
It's like still like tomboy, kitty, me daddy's girl. So there's 5 of us. I'm the youngest of 5. My 2 sisters are 10 to 8 years older. So they weren't my friends until I was an adult. They wanted no business with me. They
I
were
know that feeling.
teenagers, and I had no hard feelings. I didn't care. I had my 2 brothers who are 2 years and 3 years older than me. And a lot of my personality and how I roll has a lot to do with growing up with my brothers and the boys. So when I'm daddy's girl, I'm really like daddy's tomboy girl, because it falls into that my personality, and just the time when with my family, they were kind of more stable on their end. I'm child number 5. So by child number 5, they have their shit together. So
they figured it out at that point.
Yes, they figured it out. And to me,
Yeah.
I felt like my father always had it figured out, because I never felt anything different. But again, I'm child number 5. So yeah, so when it comes to being like daddy's girl, yes, I guess I am, but it's not like mushy. But I'm not really a mushy person. I would say I'm a nice person.
I was just about to ask you that.
Because
I can't imagine you with as tough as you are in the workout.
Let me tell you. You want me to explain? When I think I am both, but I have a super hard exterior, and I think that has been built up. But I wouldn't say I was mushy, but I'm caring. I care. So if
you're like
care,
what they call like an eggshell. Like if we crack you open, you're soft and mushy inside, but the shell
I'm still
of
not
you,
mushy though.
You're not.
I'm still not mushy, but
what's your sign?
I'm a Leo.
Okay.
So, but everybody that knows me says I'm like, since I'm at the end of Leo, I'm more like Virgo Leo.
Okay.
Right? So I can feel that, because I don't think I'm like, oh my God, Leo Nation. But my job helps me get that energy out. So maybe if I wasn't a trainer, I would be like rah rah rah.
Yeah.
But it goes into my work. So
But I wonder, where did you channel this energy younger? Like,
I played sports. I
Okay.
wanted to be.
what
okay,
high school
this-
did you go to?
I went to Fort Hamilton High School.
Okay.
So I guess this is where my competitiveness comes into play. I wanted to be the strongest girl around the boys.
Okay.
So I used to
okay.
hang out with all the boys, and I'm like, I can do that. Like, what's the big deal? I can do that. And that's really where it started from. And it was just, I always felt like, why should you think you're better than me if you're like a boy? Like, yes, genetics plays a role when you're older, but at that time, that age frame, there's not really different. So it's completely different. So that's where my competitive nature came. And just, I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. At that time, we were out hanging out.
But where would you go? Because you were in Brooklyn. See, I grew up, you and I are almost the same age, but I grew up in Harlem.
Okay. So
like-
that's a big difference. So
Yeah.
But
so I wonder, what was your neighborhood like?
So my neighborhood I live in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. It's super residential. Now it's a little bit mixed. It has a little bit of everything. But when I was a kid, it was mostly like white.
Yeah.
So I had the best of both worlds because my cousins lived in Williamsburg. So I hung around in the housing buildings playing Manhunt. And then when I'm in Bay Ridge, we're playing Manhunt or whatever, through like the parks and the blocks.
So you
and we
had that
a block
duality.
Yes, which I loved because I felt both sides, and it always fit so well with me. So I think that because I grew up in this neighborhood, I got to experience like more of like, not suburbs, because it's not really suburbs. If you go to Bay Ridge, it's like it's a
what's
very
Bay Ridge like?
Okay, so Bay Ridge.
You gotta paint that picture, because I don't know nothing about Brooklyn. So you gotta
and in
really.
Bay Ridge, I feel like I don't want to give it up. I want to keep Bay Ridge a secret, because Bay Ridge is one of like the last standing neighborhoods. Like, if you're from Bay Ridge, you most likely grew up there, you went to the schools there. Everybody in that get out the way. No, everybody in that vicinity grew up together.
Yeah.
Whether we went to private school or public school, it was the same grow up. So
So you had the same friends.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes, like my son's friends are my friends in high school, or his father's friends in high school. It's like still like a community. So I had that. Although I dealt with like racism at that time, I did not know what it was. I just was just like, oh, that's the mean, angry old lady. And it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot, but at the time, and looking back now, I felt it. But other than that, I had a great childhood, and when I went to Williamsburg and hung out with my cousins, we were just like kids. It didn't come to me that it was like different nationalities. It felt like we were just hanging out, but that was the beautifulness of hanging out in that time frame. And I feel like when I train clients, it tumbles right into it, because it's all different kinds of women and different ages and coming from different places, but we just see each other as women who are pulling their together at the same time, doing the same shit, and everybody's just taking care of them. Like when we were kids, we just hanging out. We just want to hang out. So I think that reflects heavily into the kind of dynamic that is in with my style of training.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about your style of training. So I've taken your classes several times.
Awesome.
And I told you offline, I'm like, you are hard. Like,
And what did I say? I was like, did you just stop?
Yeah.
Did you give it a chance?
So here's the thing. During the pandemic was when I got introduced to Quarantina.
That was,
That was a time, right?
So, yes. So really fast, like that was the perfect time for me, because I was already talking about this. I was like, I work out to feel better. I work out to let off steam. I am going through some, and if I don't move my body or whatever, I don't know how I'm gonna keep my cool and not react to what I was dealing with at the time. So when quarantine happened, I was like, look at everybody going nuts. I'm like, I'm getting in there, right? I couldn't work. All my clients were like nurses, city workers, teachers. So I had a lot of those, and everything was shut down. Nurses were nowhere to be found. Everybody was working. And I'm like, I am going to go right into this online stuff.
And you shifted quick because we got shut down like March 12th or something,
Girl,
and then you
this is
started
how
like March 18th. That was
I would have started sooner. I started in April. I would have started sooner if I didn't have a broken ankle. Because in order to teach my style of training, I have to demonstrate a lot.
Yeah, you do.
It's a lot of demonstration, and not all classes, but like the main class and what I'm known for in my movements, I need to be able to move. So I had to wait for my ankle to get
heal.
better.
Yeah.
Yep. As soon as that happened, I was like, all right, I need to make a flyer. I need to figure this out. I'll figure out the rest. So I was like literally like setting up Zooms, manually setting out passcodes for people to work out. Everything was manual labor. Like every Saturday a new program came out, and every Saturday all day I was sending out these codes. Like,
so you didn't have a team. This was just all you.
I never have a team. I still to this day I don't have a team. I am still learning as I go along. So it's a nice thing because the core of my team, we kind of all like grew together. Like me as a virtual trainer and just like in life, like it's getting situated to the new norm. Like that COVID was not normal. Like it made everybody realize what mattered at that time. And it's the people around you. It's exercising to cope and be able to stay in shape and healthy, and just basic stuff. And I hate to look at such a terrible time frame, but I feel like on the upper side of that, it gave everybody a more calmness a little bit. And I am super happy that I was able to be a part of people's calmness. And it is the reason why I became a trainer, and the only reason why I became a trainer, yes, is to create some kind of calmness so that people, specifically women, because I was driven by it too, can get through their day clear-minded, like not overreacting, not acting because of something else happened. Like I wanted everybody to feel good the way it made me feel good. And COVID was a perfect time for me to do that.
You know what's crazy? When I first, because this happened, right? COVID happened. You start training. And then something in my mind shifted, and I was like, I started doing math. And math is like my worst subject. And I'm like, she's charging $20 a class, and she has all of the, I'm like, wow, like she actually never needs to go and like to the gym again. Like she could actually do this for the rest of her life.
And I didn't.
And you didn't. And I'm like, it's crazy how, because I see two sides of you. I see definitely Tina the trainer.
Yep.
But
And
then I
chill.
see Tina like the entrepreneur, like the businesswoman, the one that's getting it, the one that's grinding. Because I'm just like, she's not even spending money on the gym per se, but she's like making all this money. And that's why I asked you, like, where did you see this growing up? Because you quickly went into that entrepreneur mindset, like, no excuses, I'm just gonna give them this now.
Yes. I don't know where that came from. I've always been like that. I don't know where that came from. I know that anytime I had difficult problems in life, I know that I always had the mentality of, all right, how are we going to fix this? Because
So solution-based.
yes, that's the first time I've ever like heard that out loud. Yes. So I don't want to say complaining, because maybe, I do a little complaining, but complaining comes with, all right, what's next? Because complaining isn't going to get you anywhere, and it also takes up super energy. And I know it sounds like cliche, but it's so true. You need to stop worrying about what went wrong and everything that's going to go bad, and think about everything that can go good, and how you're going to do it. And that's exactly how I did with my virtual. I knew that COVID was going to end. Now, how am I gonna make this not a gimmick thing? Like, how am I?
Right.
And that's when I developed a whole total body program to make you strong, sculpt your body, build a shape, because that also is important to me. I think that's when my culture comes into play. Curvy to me is always beautiful. So I'm like, all right, so how am I gonna put that into my program? I mean, I have to add this kind of training to build this kind of figure. You know, it's not, so that I started to do that, and I made sure I made a complete program so that when COVID ended, nobody felt like they had to go anywhere. And it kind of worked.
It definitely worked in your favor, for sure.
It worked.
For sure. And one of the things that I love is that every time I saw you, and the reason why I gravitated to your classes was because I felt like your body looked like a real, like, nice woman body. It wasn't like too muscular. It wasn't too.
It's just an athletic body of somebody who likes to move.
But it looked very sculpted. And I think for the first time, because you can, listen, everyone can work out, right? You can do cardio, you can lose the weight. But what you focus on is a lot of sculpting.
I do both. I make sure that strength is included, but also programmed to where it's gonna fall hand in hand with sculpting. Because strength doesn't mean shapely body. Cardio does not mean shapely body. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to this, and you gotta map it out. So that's how I mapped it out. I wanted my girls to be able to perform, but also look great and look strong, but soft strong. Just like you work out, but people would have no idea what they can do, like performance-wise. So when I see, when COVID started to ring around, that was my idea, and I've been on that same plan this whole time. So
how do you keep it fresh in terms of, like, because now you started the business, what is it called? The business body? Or
oh, yes.
And that's something that you just recently launched.
Yeah. So the freshness, so a lot of the stuff with my program is repetitive, but in different ways. So I'll make sure I'll just switch up. In order to build muscle, you have to program it in a certain way, but you also have to make it fresh. So it's always being remixed in a different way. Playlist helps a lot. And just the way you present the actual workout, right? Every workout is not the same, but it is the same. And to me, that's my hardest part of being an online trainer. And then I have the new programs that come out, like the Busy Girl program. Like, I know that there are girls, women who are busy. Everybody's busy, actually. Even when you're not busy, you're busy. Your mind is always running, right? So I incorporate that for the woman who is busy or has kids at home, or maybe she thinks she can't do it, and all right, 30 minutes. I feel like I get people with that mind frame, because there's multiple reasons why people don't work out.
What are the reasons? If you can name a few.
That time, they think they can't do it. They don't understand that one day at a time is key to going into this. They think ahead, I can't do that. But if you would just stick to it, yes, you can. And I think that they're just intimidated. And I feel like with this program, it's just 30 minutes, very simple moves, but it is designed to work everything at once, but still targeting different areas in certain days. So you're getting a nice basic workout, but it's a nice, strong, and cohesive workout. So I feel like if I can get something out like that to people and bring them in, then dope. Because everybody starts somewhere.
Right.
And I don't know anybody who gets into working out and that doesn't want more. So start with 30 minutes, and if you stick to it, you're gonna want more. And that is my thought process to that, and how I get girls in, and how I just keep growing my team, because everybody needs an option, and I just want to provide the options.
Who was your biggest transformative client where you were like actually shocked to see
Man,
that?
I have tons of that.
Yeah.
I have tons of that. I can't even.
And like, were you shocked to even see that? Like,
No, nope. I know because if you put in the work, I know it's gonna come.
Yeah.
Me as a trainer, I know this. Were they shocked? Yeah. Were they shocked later on more than they were in the beginning? Not really, because after you put in that kind of work to get that kind of transformation, you know what you did. There's no shock.
Yeah.
You know what you put in. You know how hard you went. There's no shock to the results that the work you put in.
Yeah,
It's the people that don't put in work and then they're shocked that they don't have results. How are they more shocked than the people that put in work?
That's a fact.
You know, so when my clients, you know, what I'm shocked is that they get up at 6 a.m. or they come home from a hard day of work, get on at 7 p.m. That's what shocks me the most. Not the results, the getting there. To me, I think that's the hardest part is getting there. Once you sign up to my classes, you're here. That's it. Boom. I plug in my abilities. All you gotta do is show up.
Yeah.
So
And follow the program.
Don't have it. You know what I'm saying? So when they come with these fire results, you know, later down the road, because they made this a lifestyle and didn't want it for some, I don't know, vacation or some kind of occasion. If they wanted the lifestyle change, every single one of those clients are looking amazing.
Yeah.
Looking, feeling. It transformed them inside out. Because once you look good, you feel good. And once you do things that you thought in a million years you can never do, of course you're going to walk around with a different pep in your step.
Yeah.
You're going to be like,
it's a different swag.
Let me tell you something. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I walked in, I was going through crazy times. And after that, and like just the process of directing everything back into myself, just that alone, I was like, and you think I'm going to let you, and whoever else take that piece away from me?
Yeah.
I will never in my life give power to another person. Never in my life. And I learned that through training. Never, ever, ever. If I was able to gain myself and pull my together, then no way in hell I'm going to let you take me out of my peaceful bliss. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to know nothing. Leave me alone. I'm working on myself. I don't care how you feel about me. Like, it's one of those things. And I feel like...
You know what's crazy? That they always say, like, it's almost... and I don't know, maybe it's for me, but they say, like... No, I say, let me not say they say.
Okay.
I say working out for me is equivalent to like a hair chop, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like you hit like rock bottom or whatever you would consider your rock bottom is. And something clicks in your mind where you're like, I just got to change at this point. Like there's nothing left for me I don't have nothing else to give. I got to just give it. You know, when you don't have anything else to give, you have to give into whatever.
Of course. My mom, my most favorite thing she ever told me, and this always stuck to me, and she's like, when you're at the bottom, whatever bottom you may think, it might not be somebody else's bottom, it's your bottom.
It's your bottom.
It's on you.
Right.
There's only one way to go, and that's up. There's no way to go. So what are you gonna do? Just flatten yourself out the bottom? You gotta bounce right back up like a ball. Like fill up, bitch, and spiral
just go
right back up.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. I was crying over a situation, and she's like, that old school Puerto Rican mom stuff.
Yeah.
She was like, ugh. She was like, look at you. Like that.
Yeah.
One of those. She was like, look at you. I'm like, what? She was like, you're crying. You think anybody else is crying? You think whoever XYZ cares? Like, you over here crying and you over
like,
here.
what you gonna do?
Yup. She's like, let me tell you something. She's like, when you're at the bottom, there's only one way to go, and that's up. And I'm like, word.
Yeah.
Word. And it was like, you know, she didn't say much, but when she said something, it always clicked. It was always like, you're right, Ma. You're so right. And that is like...
That's why they say when you break up with someone, that's when like your body comes in and you start going hard and you start working.
My revenge body clients are the best. I'm like, yup, let that fuel you. Because sometimes you need something.
Yeah, you do need something.
Like I said, I got into it because of a breakup. I just wanted to feel better. I just didn't want to be angry and fall like like fall into that cycle. I wanted to just be able to ignore it. And I once I started fitness, I'm like, I need to share this. And that's why I can train men, you know what I'm saying? But that's why it fueled differently. And I was already successful doing something else. You know, I wasn't down and out. It was just like, you know what, this feels like I need to be doing this. Like I need to share this, and I need to share it in this way because it's fueled way differently for me.
Right.
So, that's,
Prior to you training, what were you doing?
I sold jewelry.
Oh, that's what. Yeah. You did say that.
I sold jewelry, and I did very well doing that, and it was another.
I actually remember.
Yeah,
yes.
that's where Bali comes from.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Yes. It did really well, and again, I was hustling. I was in the clubs, 10 p.m. making stuff for everybody. A lot of the stuff was handmade. I like that crafty shit. So I was making everything, and that was doing really well. I had it on like, it wasn't social media. It was like reality TV, like people, like from like Love and Hip Hop, Black Ink Crew.
How'd you know these people? Like, how are you? Was it from the clubs? Like, where did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was just putting myself out there, and that's where Bali comes from. My jewelry line was called Bali Katina. And Bali was just somebody I had to be at the time to make this business happen. It's not my personality, or maybe it is. I don't know.
But why Bali? Like where?
Bali. So Bali Katina. Bali is like ear. I don't even remember, like Indonesian, and Katina is chain. And at the time, I was making like these ear chains, and it looked kind of like Indian looking.
Yeah.
So Katina is also chain in Latin, and since it had my name, it was Bali Katina put together. So, but then everybody just thought my name was Bali. They thought that was my first and last name. So that's still with me, and I like that because Bali was just a different person. It wasn't Tina. Tina was still hurting and like all fucked up. Yeah. So, and then it just did. It turned into like my stage name.
Bali?
Yep.
So when we see you working out, is that Bali?
That's Bali, 100,000%.
So Tina's the emotional one.
Tina is the, I guess Tina is the one that's working on herself, and Bali's is front show right now while Tina takes care of herself. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But as of recently, I feel like they merged. Like it became one. Like, okay, I'm realizing, that was you the whole time.
Yeah.
That was how you handled it. It doesn't matter how you handled it, you handled it. So now everything's like shifting internally for me. Like everybody sees me as Bali, but that really does mean something to me. It really was a process of getting me through really tough times. So that's where Bali comes from.
I wonder, like, how do you show up consistently, even when you have bad days? Because I'm sure behind the scenes you're going through major things, like we all are, right? Like,
most of my
I usually try to check out. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, if I have a bad day, I will take a day for myself because there's no way I can really.
I can't do that.
I know you can't, and that's why I asked. Like, how do you? Where does that? That I'm gonna show up no matter what.
Because other people depend on me. That's why. That's where that comes from. Other people depend on me, and if I'm running a business that I want to be successful and fulfilling to why I even started it, I need to show up. Yeah. These people depend. I can't talk like this and portray something, which is not portrayal, but I can't elaborate on something and not fulfill and complete and show the way. It's just not an option. So yeah, I have terrible days, and most of it has to do with my body, my autoimmune diseases, and you know what? It's gonna hurt anyway. It's gonna hurt anyway. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna feel like that anyway. But I need to show up for the people who I have to show up for, and that part is like the personal part. And even though it's many girls online, some I never met, it's just that thought. Because I know these girls are working on themselves. You have to be working on yourself to work out. That's working on yourself. So how am I not going to show up. I'm the one who helps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's
It's like,
what it is.
who does the doctor go to when they need help? Who does the therapist go to
Oh
when
my
they
God,
need help?
nobody even talks about that part.
Yeah.
That's the time. That's why I go away so much. That's the mental break I need because it's like you give out, and I love it, but also nobody realizes how it depletes. I don't want to sound so deep and say your soul, but
No, it does. It does something
feels-
to your soul.
It feels soul depleting, and if you don't refill back to you, and it doesn't go to just me as a trainer, just in general, it's just a lot. It feels like a lot more on me.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna. It's just another way of having to cope with it that you have going on.
Yeah.
So I need to go away. I travel often. I go to Puerto Rico all the time. I love it there.
First of all, can I just say, like, I appreciate every post that you post on social
thank
media.
you.
For some reason, your pictures are like, I can feel it. I'm like, okay, I feel when you're on the rock on the island. I'm like, I
love
feel
that.
her.
That's that.
Yes,
I love that. I love that I can post about that and like.
It's like an instant feeling that I get. I'm like, oh my God.
Even when I'm teaching my classes, I love that I pop into Puerto Rico sometimes, and it kind of gives them like a vibe too, because then it's like reggaeton more. It's like a certain different vibe.
Yes.
It's always a vibe, but it's just depending on what it is. So I have to go. I feel like I have to go there. Like I have to go there and feel like that. Like it feels like the air is taking care of me. Like I go, like it feels like something is being like taken off of me, and I can't. I guess that is explaining it, but like I can't further explain how it makes me feel.
You know what's so crazy? I actually, like, fun fact, but true. I have not been away in 2 years. I have not been on a plane in 2 years.
Working.
Just working straight through.
It'd be like that though.
And my boyfriend recently asked me, well, what do you want for your birthday? Because my birthday's at the end of the year. He's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I want to go to Puerto Rico.
Oh my God.
Like, I have to travel. He's like, oh, you don't want to do that? I'm like, no, I want to go to Puerto Rico.
Girl,
that's it.
I recommend it. I recommend
I'm
you
like,
go to
that's
Puerto
it.
Rico.
I don't want to do anything else.
You rent a car.
Yes. What are your favorite places in Puerto Rico?
God, there's so many. So during COVID, I traveled all over. And
during COVID, I traveled.
Man, COVID really changed my life.
Yes,
My ring right here says 2020. And I say that COVID changed my life, and it gave me like clear vision. And that's what 2020 is. So like, it's like, but I was in Puerto Rico all over. I did it like off the top of my head, like 2 weeks here. And as I'm staying here 2 weeks, I'm looking up where I'm going next. So I'm really like following a map, or I'm on Instagram looking up places I would want to see.
I love that.
Or just like Googling. And then when I'm there, I'm like looking on the maps, and I'm like zooming out and just watching the coast. And some of the most fiery beaches I've found in Puerto Rico was saying, all right, this is a great coastline. I'm just gonna drive and see what's here. Obviously, it's gonna be some kind of beach, right? Never failed me. Never. I always find some fire, and I don't like to be in the mix. I want to be alone. If I'm going to Puerto Rico, it is not to hang out. It is to do nothing and enjoy that land, the beaches, the way the air smells.
It's just a different feeling. And you know what's so crazy too? Like, I don't like to travel alone. Like, I'm never that person. Puerto Rico is actually the only place where I can travel alone.
I highly recommend traveling alone to Puerto Rico. It's one of those places where it's safe. It's not like a wild country where they're, whatever. Of course, they have its thing like everywhere else, like Brooklyn. Brooklyn's amazing. But of course, you have shit that goes on. Same thing. It ain't no different than, Brooklyn, New York, except it's a paradise. And you go and you can get from one side of the island to the other and just get lost. Get lost. Like, just... Jesus, like, just get lost.
You say you get lost, but what do you find when you're there? Like, what parts of you do you find when you're in Puerto Rico? Like, what does it do for your soul?
It makes me feel like I belong, right? It makes me feel like I'm supposed to be there. It makes me feel calm. This is like and this is not just me being on vacation. This is specifically Puerto Rico. Like,
Right.
I've been so many places, and nowhere makes me feel like where this beautiful island makes me feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like a self-care treatment, and a lot has to do with me feeling like this is where I'm from. This is where my roots. This is where my parents are from. You know, they were both born there. So I go back, and it takes me back to the roots I thought I never needed to know. You know, being in Brooklyn, New York, in Bay Ridge doesn't really, you're not really living in those roots, you know?
Yeah.
And really, New York is different from Puerto Rico roots too. It's the same energy, but just different vibes. But I feel like I just belong. Like, it feels like Bay Ridge and Brooklyn put together on a beautiful paradise. The calming and the beautiful people and just the beautiful location. It's just, I love it. I really, really, really love Puerto Rico. And maybe I might be biased.
I feel the same way.
Maybe I might be biased, but no, I don't know anybody who goes to Puerto Rico who does not love it. I don't. It's a Tina fact check on my end. I don't know about everybody else, but it's a Tina fact check. I don't know anybody who doesn't go there and they're like, this is great. Even if they go to like the touristy part, it's still great. You still get to see the people who work there. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're just a vibe that I want to be a part of, which I am.
Puerto Rico's dope. That picture with the pink bathing suit, you remember? Pink two-piece.
Yes.
Was that in Puerto Rico?
Yes.
So
that was in Crash Boat Beach.
what part of Puerto Rico is that?
Crash Boat is Agua Dia, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's like one of the more known beaches.
Yes.
And I stayed in an Airbnb that was right above it.
Fire.
Yo, that's one of my favorite bathing suits. That was
Let
gifted.
me tell you something. So fire. I don't want to sound like a creep or anything.
No,
but
no way.
Literally, that picture is on my vision board because I'm like,
Wow,
that's the body
I
I
love to hear
want. That's the bathing suit I want. Then I got the bathing suit.
Cute.
And didn't fit into it. Still don't fit into it, girl. But I'm like, I'm gonna fit into it one day. One day I'm gonna fit into it. And it's so funny because when people come to my house and they see that, like they see,
They're like, who's that?
Yeah, they're like, no, but they're
What do
like,
you say?
is that your body? Was that you? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's Tina.
Oh,
It's so funny because I have that picture because I just felt like that was such a fire picture of like what it showed for me was, and the reason why I put it on my vision board was because it showed confidence.
yes.
Pink is such a powerful color. I always
love
say.
pink. I love
and it was that
pink.
fuchsia pink.
It was that bold.
It was that bold,
bright, vibrant.
Correct.
Here I am, pink. Doesn't have to say nothing.
Correct. And then there was like water behind you, water underneath you, and it was just like I was
Girl,
like,
that was an
this is the
infinity
mood
pool.
board. I'm like,
that was the infinity pool in that complex.
I just loved it so much. I'm like, this is the one. This is the one that we
thank
gotta
you.
like.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, that was such a great.
Thanks.
Yeah, like as a reference pic of like, hey,
I love to take pictures.
You do, and you
I
know what's so
do.
crazy? Like again, going back to the in you being an entrepreneur, social media plays a huge role in your business.
Almost everything, and for both businesses, I ran 2 successful businesses with just Instagram.
But do you plan it out? Like I wonder.
No, it happens
You don't?
naturally. No,
So you never plan out your schedule of like what you're gonna do, what you're gonna post, what's the caption?
no.
Really?
The only thing that's planned in my life is my program. That's it.
Seriously.
Nothing is planned in my life. It's just the way I live. It's not the best, and I don't know how I made it this far, but nothing is planned. I tried to plan, but I don't know if I suffer from like imposter syndrome, but I can't say nothing I'm not feeling. I can't say it because you want to hear it. And I know that's terrible business move. Maybe you gotta, but this is still real to me. So this is still what makes me happy. And I don't want this to feel like a job. It's either you roll with it,
Right.
or you don't.
Correct.
So when I post, it's like, all right, what am I feeling? Or what do I feel like I need to say? Sometimes I feel like I got to say. And those are usually like my long posts. They don't come very often, but I feel like maybe when I have those callings to say something, I feel like I should say it because that's coming from somewhere. And every time I do a more in detail post about something that I'm feeling, I get so many girls reaching out to me.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Like it was like it grabbed who it needed to grab. And I'm always like, wow. And sometimes I'm like, I should say more, but just my personality, the way I am, it won't let me. It just won't let me.
I feel like I'm such an overthinker, so I'm like overthinking the caption, the post. I'll run my post through like 5 people before it actually hits Instagram.
You know why? Because that's a part of running a business, and that's a part of you trying to execute what you're trying to say and how you want to say it. It's very hard on people on social media. People don't get that we're people. And so I say less because less is more. You know what I'm saying? And people take things the wrong way, or I don't want to paint any picture of me. I don't want there to be a painted picture. I want you to, what you see is what you get. And if I say something, it's just a feeling that I'm feeling. And as much as I try to plan out, it never comes out as planned, ever. I wish I could.
Recently, so funny enough, this is, if you guys don't know, this is her first podcast interview. So we're popping cherries over here.
Yes, and I've been in this business a really long time. And
you just, what is it? Is it that are you shy? Are you like an introvert?
Very shy. I'm very shy.
Oh,
You're
on camera
You're
daily.
talking to Tina. There's 2 people. There's 2 people. It's like MJ. You ever see MJ? He goes out, performs, kills it. He's the most soft-spoken man ever. He's like, hey, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's the same way. I still have that grudge, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just be unseen. Like, if it wasn't for my business, I'm not the person to be posting, I'm here, I'm there, I want to be here, I want to be involved in this. And I've had to learn how to get involved for business purposes.
Right.
But that is not my personality. I don't want to be involved in nothing.
Yeah.
I want to just flow freely as I can be, which is why I don't teach in person. I love the freeness that I get from training, and I don't need to be greedy. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be everywhere doing everything. I love training online. It fits my personality perfectly. It gives me that freedom, not feeling trapped, that gives me anxiety. So I am super blessed to find something that actually fits my personality. Yeah. And I love, love, love what I do. So along with showing up for these girls, like, I really love my job. I can
tell.
It makes me feel like a kid. Like, I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. When I turn on my classes, I'm like, all right, let's go. Be warming up, do whatever. It's like straight to business. There's no song and dance. There's no hypeness. Hypeness comes from the energy reciprocated. Like, if I can't exert like hypeness to nobody. So I am lucky to be able to feel that energy through the computer. I can feel it, and I can pull it too. As long as it's there, dope. I feel like I can pull it, boomerang it back, and just keep it flowing. And it's fire. And I think once the screen turns off, 7 a.m. hits, I don't gotta do nothing anymore. I'm happy. That made me happy, and now I'm happy chilling. It's like the most perfect thing for me. And really, I'm just super blessed to be able to just have pulled this shit off.
You really did. I'm not gonna lie. Listen.
I don't need to be everywhere or doing this. I need to be happy. And if this makes me happy and everybody else is happy, then what a beautiful day. Yeah. What a beautiful thing.
So I wonder, why did you decide to do this podcast? Because this was like really stepping out of your comfort zone.
You know what? I told you before that this came like a glimmer in my mind. I'm like, damn. I'm like, this podcast, we spoke before.
We did.
And it didn't happen. And again, my personality is just like, okay, maybe it's not meant to be. It's nothing like, why didn't it happen? Nope. It came like a glimmer of whatever in my head, and then it left. And then 2 days later, you hit me up.
Yeah.
So I to me. Like, hello, like, what other signs do you need? I'm a sign, I'm a doer, I'm a sign taker. Like, you give me that sign, I'm gonna take it and bring it somewhere. So I feel like it was just the right time. Last time it was not the right time. Maybe I was too emotional. Maybe I didn't have my together at that time and I was gonna talk about all the wrong shit. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
But I feel like this was just a time and it feels great. I feel great. And I'm like, I feel like I'm like natural.
Yes. I told you. He was like, I'm nervous. I'm like, girl, you
I
have
was
nothing
so
to be
nervous.
nervous about.
I was so nervous. When I used to teach classes, I used to in person, I used to have to be inside of a quiet room like 20 minutes before class. I couldn't talk to nobody. I didn't want to I didn't want to come off as grumpy. It wasn't that. It was like I couldn't.
You have to hit your
mentally.
zone. You have to stay in that zone.
Yep. So I'm very much still like that. I'm still, even when teaching class, I'm like, all right, I gotta like get into this zone because I do suffer from anxiety. So it's whatever. But the best feeling is always like attacking. Like this feels great. This is such a great feeling that I'm here able to talk to you and I feel comfortable.
And share your story too.
And yeah, you know what? Yeah.
You really do have a dope
Yeah.
story. There's a few more things I want to get into. One, I want to get into, where do I want to take it? Do I want to take it? Because
keep hitting shit.
both of them are strengths. I want to talk about the strength of motherhood.
Okay.
Without getting like too personal on that. But, you know, that does take an incredible amount of strength and how you show up for your kids. And
Yes.
you're not as vocal about it, but it's something that
Yes.
I always say, like, mothers are like the real super women
It's
in the world.
something, yes. So for me, it's something that I have to figure out and how I do everything. I have teenage kids. If I ever worry about anything, it's about putting my kids out there. So the way I handle things is in private because I want that to be private. You know what I'm saying? I need my kids to feel like it's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't need to, put it out, put anything out there. I don't really put anything out there other than fitness because that's all I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's what I feel like is my calling. My calling isn't to put my personal things out there. So when it comes to parenting, I'm super private and it takes a lot to be able to manage that and your business because the business is all around whatever. And then when you have a girl who's teenager, it's I don't want to do the wrong thing. So that is my biggest thing as a mom. No, I don't think that people talk about how hard parenting is on just a person, right? So when you get older, when you're a kid, you don't realize that. You don't realize that the firefighter or the police officer is a person. You don't realize the teacher is a person. You don't realize your mom is a person. So that is one of my biggest jobs ever is how to raise kids like thinking that as well. Like that's how I operate. I want to be able to have them like, I don't even know how to say it. Like understand, as a parent, I just want my kids to understand empathy and stuff like that. So to me, in this world and trying to raise a kid is tough because it's just a lot going on. When we were kids, it wasn't so much.
Yeah, it was.
So I much rather do that on my own time.
Right.
I don't have to talk about it. It's nothing to talk about, to me. So that is my biggest thing. Like I don't want to present motherhood. I don't have it figured out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's super hard. So yeah.
What I find interesting though, because you don't share that much, which I can respect.
No, I don't.
But your son is turning into his own entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Which I
Yes.
think is like pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like he is like,
Yes.
he's killing the game.
Yes.
Like he's a DJ.
Yes.
And that part you did share. And I say that to say, because the little bit that you do share, like we appreciate and we love that, like you're supporting him and like he's turning into his own man,
Yes,
you know,
I
and we
think-
love that.
Yes, I think that since I know the ropes and I know how and I understand how to navigate, if there's ever a type of like parent I want to be, I want to guide, because I'm first generation Puerto Rican. My parents came from Puerto Rico, old school. Not so old school, but old school enough that they didn't teach us.
Yeah.
Maybe they taught us ethics, but then what? Then what do you do with those ethics?
Right.
Then what? You know, I want to make sure that I am helping him think the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure I'm helping him set up things for the next thing, like just stuff like that. So when you see me, like now, my son, I'm talking about him, he's promoting. I want to encourage that.
I love that.
I want to, that's, now you get to see my son. You don't need to see birthday pictures or, you know what I'm saying? I love that he's doing that, and I just want to be like the best wingman ever. Like help him out, because not to fault my parents. Yo, being a parent, you don't know until you're older. You're like, damn, I should have done this. Or I should have done that. But you know what my parents should have done? I should have had a little bit more guidance, but they didn't have it either. I developed it, and I want to return that as an adult parent. You know, I feel like I am a better adult parent than I was a kid parent. You know what I'm saying? I was more like, okay, like structure, like maybe, I can't explain it.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, like, so my mom was a young parent. Like my mom had her first kid when she was 17, you know, so my mom didn't have it all figured out. And interesting enough, like it wasn't until late 20s for me, early 30s, where I just remember, because growing up, I was kind of always so angry at her, like, well, why you didn't have this figured out? And why are we doing things like this? And my friends' parents, they do this and you didn't do. And I was always like kind of like blaming her. And then when I got older, I'm like, and then I started going through my own emotional roller coaster. I'm like, that's when that word grace, that's so popular now, that's when it kicked in for me. And I said, I understand. I get it. Because like you said,
a person.
She was no longer a role for me.
Yes.
She was a real, and I was like, damn, I wonder
Isn't
what
that a
mommy
hurtful
went
time?
through at 17.
Right? It's like a hurtful time when you realize that.
And I did, growing up, I
It's
apologized to my
pivotal.
mom.
I still have not done that.
Really?
Nope, and she hasn't done it to me either.
Do you feel like there's still more learning that needs to be done
I
between
feel like
the both
people
of you?
are
Or
fixed in their ways, and whatever is not said is understood, and that's how I continue on with my whatever. But some of the most best traits that I have to offer is from my mom.
Yeah.
So I'm happy, like, she is who she is.
Right.
Just the person she is. Maybe she didn't understand, or maybe whatever, but she showed me like some of the best things without knowing. I don't even think she noticed.
What did she show you? Like, what were some of like the best traits?
Oh man, I'll tell you exactly what it was. Number one, she told me never to be jealous of nobody. Don't ever worry about what other people have. You'll never be happy. Never. I've never, ever, ever had that trait. If I felt it, I would be like, like, why do I feel like this? Like, what do I have to fix that makes me feel like this? It's like, so I've always rolled like that. And she taught me that. Another thing she used to tell me was work for your own thing. Make sure you have she used to say, make sure you have a good education, a good job, so you don't have to wash some guy's dirty underwears, right?
Yeah.
And I find that funny because my father did his own laundry, but it's just her concept and way of doing it. If she wasn't stuck in that role, which I always found funny, but I think she understood the role of woman, or at least she thought of how it was back then. She didn't want that for her daughters.
Right.
So she always said that. So I'm like, got it, check, right? And then And then she used to, and then when you're at the bottom, there's only one way to go up. And she always made me, that taught me that there's always light at the end of whatever tunnel. Like this happens in waves. And unfortunately, only the strong survive. So it's either you ride the wave out and you're gonna get to where you need to get to, or you let that wave take you down and drown you. Like, what would you rather do?
Yeah.
I don't want to drown. Drowning,
Me
dying
either.
while you're still alive is the worst thing you can do. Right? There's tons of people who are walking around dead. I don't want that. I don't want that to be me. It's not how I want to live life. So she taught me that. She made sure that was in my, like, you know, like, maybe she wasn't like the most affectionate. She wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
I never even heard my mother tell me she loves me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even think, like, no, never. Does it mean that she doesn't love me? No, I don't think so. She has to love me. I'm a f***ing kid.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But she also made that whatever is not said doesn't mean it's not there. And I also learned that, you know, oddly enough, from my mom, because
It's I love this, by the way. You know why? Because my brother, he always says that about my older sister. He's like, she never tells me she loves me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, of course she loves you. Like, why wouldn't she love you?
Like-
and he'll say it. He'll be like, I love you. And she would never say
but I
it.
never told my mom too. And
Was it because that you were afraid to not hear the I love you back?
No, that never came. I couldn't spit it out. I feel like that's gonna come with a bunch of emotions, but I always think that, I don't know if she thinks the same thing, but I always feel like I need to tell her. Like, I have to let her
gotta
know.
tell her.
Because she's never heard it too. So, like, me, I can, whatever she can say about me, I can, like, or whatever I can say about her, she can say about me back.
Yeah. I feel like one day that moment's gonna come for you where you guys say it.
Maybe.
And you guys just gonna be bursting in tears.
That's
like,
when that would be the mushiest moment of my life. That would be the mushiest moment of my whole entire life.
are you wanting to hear that from her?
Wanting?
But then I'm like, what kid doesn't want to hear their
Not
parent?
to a point where I'm like, boo hoo hoo, I want to hear it. Oh my God, my life would be fulfilled. But maybe I might feel that.
Yeah.
But I don't have that. There's no, like, I don't feel like I'm missing something, but maybe it is going to be something I'm missing. You know, whenever it comes, and if it does come, I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah. You know,
I'm not looking for it though.
But when you go through things like that, like, you know, because for me, I wasn't the affectionate daughter. Like, my mom would always want to kiss
This
me.
is
And I would be
culture,
like,
though.
Mom, please, like. And now I'm like, no, mommy, hug me. Mommy, kiss me. You know, because now
You're older.
I'm
You
older,
appreciate
and
it.
I'm like, please, like, hug me, kiss me, hold me. But growing up, I'm like, Ma, get away, please, like, do not kiss me.
And don't you
right now.
feel bad thinking back?
I'm like, why did I do that to
Like,
her?
when we would argue, I would say terrible things, and she wasn't, you know, an angel, you know, but I would say terrible things, and I would, thinking back now as a mom, I would be like, fuck, what? I hurt my mom. I have to say sorry, and I have to tell her I love her. And I don't know when it's gonna be, but I don't know.
It's gonna happen. Do you feel like you overcompensate as a mom? Like, do you overly
No.
tell your kids, like, I love you?
I'm not a
because-
mushy mom, but I do tell my daughter I love her.
Yeah.
I make sure I tell her that, and maybe that's because I never heard it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't feel emotional about it. But maybe it's just the way I am. So maybe it is emotional, and I don't even notice it. But I do tell her all the time. I tell her all the time. Or I'll text her, you know, I hope you had a great day. Or you know, whatever. She's great. I think my daughter is great. And it's not because she's my kid. Like, she is a great little human. Very mature. Very aware of her feelings. Super passionate. I don't worry about her at all. None of my kids, my daughter or my son, I feel like they are like great people and super aware of themselves and always go-getters. And I think that's all you really need to be successful. Because when you're a good person, it happens for you. It happens for you just from being a good person, I feel like. So I feel like she's gonna be good, both my kids.
Yeah. Oh, I love this for you.
Wow, I'm excited for them to get older. I really wanted to be like a civil rights. I feel like she has it in her, like fight for the rights. You know what I'm saying?
I want to talk about autoimmune disorders because you speak very heavily about this.
Yeah, it's
Recently,
been a part of my life.
you did a live. You spoke about ADHD.
Oof,
You
yep.
spoke about gaslighting. That was like
Ooh.
another topic that you hit.
Oh man, yeah.
So there were like a few points that you recently discussed on your live.
Yeah.
What fueled that? Like what made you want to hop on live and like discuss these things? And not that you've been private about your autoimmune disorder, but I just wonder, because you always put that in the forefront a lot.
So with the autoimmune disorder, I've been suffering for that for a really long time, and sometimes it's worse than others. Lately, it has been like super out of control. Like I've been super in pain, or it's been really, really affecting me. But what does make me feel good is when I do move, when I do stay active.
Yeah.
And I felt like at that time, I felt like I just had to remind people that I am not superhuman. I'm a regular person. I do struggle with problems, probably more problems than anybody I know. We know it comes from everywhere. I have been through mental abuse, so that's another huge problem, and that's why I mentioned that. I feel like, well, I don't feel like, I know that if your mind isn't right, then your body isn't going to be right. They are connected. So I think I went through a lot of debunking and why I was feeling the way I felt about certain things. And I realized that while you go through certain things, you don't realize it's happening. And the first thing to getting better and feeling better about yourself is to realize what happened. Like, what did you just go through? What was that? Is it me, or is this a thing? Like, it's a thing. Like, people go through this. There's certain types of people who put you through this, and then your body reacts a certain way. So this is all a thing.
Yeah.
So whenever I speak about that, I wish I would speak about it more, and that goes with the planning out. I'm not a good planner. It's just my personality. But I always want to chime in on that, because people forget that you're a person and they don't realize where you came from. They only see how far you've come, and people love to just go off of that. And with social media, that it does it very well. If you just come in and you're just coming in, you must think that I don't got nothing going on. I got it all figured out. I don't. Maybe I got what I love to do figured out, and my job situation and my financial situation. But that ain't it if you don't feel good. It's that's just part of the problem. And I wish like people understood that. I wish that happiness and feeling a different way comes from other places. And that needs to, it's a very rude awakening when you have no more money issues and you're still not happy. Right? That is what I was going through. I'm like, I need to enjoy this. Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel worthless? Why do I not feel like I'm doing my thing? Why do I feel like I'm fronting? That was a big one coming over me. Like, I was talking about all this women empowerment, and it felt like I was fronting for a while. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? And it's because the wiring that happens when you're dealing with somebody that makes you feel a certain type of way. And this goes for it doesn't have to be, your boyfriend. It can be anybody.
Yeah,
it can be
family.
anybody.
It could be anybody.
Bro, it can be anybody. It can be the bus driver on a day that says something in a different shed of light, and you're just like it just weighs in on you. You know what I'm saying? It could be anybody. So I felt like people need to know that. So when I say that, it's just another thought that I feel like needs to be out there, because I understand that people relate to me. So I need to let them know here and there that sometimes, and a lot of the times, I'm not okay. I just figure it out. I just figure out how I'm going to make the best of this, because I just feel like that's what life is. I feel like I figured out life. Like, it's just make the best, of whatever you have. And there's always a way to make the best of something. Always. If you think there's a dead stop wherever you are, you're bugging. All those, the best success stories are the people who were out of it and not able, just in terrible circumstances, conditions. And why does it make it the best? Because they were able to get out of it.
Yeah,
they were able to figure it out. And everybody loves to see that. Everybody loves to see people break through. And I feel like that's why I'm super relatable. That's why I have old, deep-rooted followers, because I think they saw from when I started with jewelry to the fitness to what I'm doing now. I'm still doing fitness. It's just different levels to it. And I think people appreciate it, but for the people who follow me that are new, I have to remind them because along with dealing with this kind of stuff, I have to deal with assumptions about what people think of you. Not that I give a shit, but just to make it very clear, I'm not an excuse maker. And although I am sometimes in bad situations, and it could always be worse, I feel like, and it can always be better. So how am I going to make it better? So I feel like part of me being a trainer is I have to get that out there, because it also falls into training. You want to be better. You want to make it better. There's always a way to make it better, right? It's like math. Math it out. Figure it out. Figure out the equation.
If that math ain't mathing, baby,
you know, X plus Y plus Z, whatever. That was not a math problem. That was you figuring it out. I always say that to my daughter, and that's another type of advice I tell her. I'm like, this ain't math. You're never gonna use this again. I'm like, this is to help you figure out how to figure it out. I'm like, this is an equation. Plug in the numbers. This is the blueprint. This is it. You're never gonna use this again. That's not. I mean, if that's not the point of math, I don't know what the point of math was. To figure out. It's not to find the square root of 144. What the is that? It's to follow an equation and plug that in what needs to be there. And that's how I break down math with my daughter.
You know, it's so crazy because like I told you before, math was like my worst subject. So
it has nothing to do with anything you're going to use ever.
My mom, I grew up loving Jay-Z, and I told you and I have that in common. So my mom would actually use Jay-Z as a part of the equation. Like, if Jay sold this many albums and he divided...
Some kids don't learn the same way. If that's what did it, that was her equation.
Yo, that did it for me.
That's what did it. It worked. You figure it out.
I figured it out.
Figure it out. Your mom figured it out too. She was like, I'm gonna show her how she's gonna understand. I'm gonna speak her language.
Yes.
Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta
meet people in the middle.
Yup. You gotta, you know, get it how you can. Just put it out there, learn how you can do it, and do it. Your mom learned it. She was talking about Jay-Z.
Yo, very early.
Right? So I say the same thing with my daughter. I'm like, this is nothing to do with math. Math. Like, I mean, that's how I am. I'm like, this has nothing to do with math. This has everything to do with figuring out your problem. This is a number problem. You have to figure this out.
I always say critical thinking is not like a thing anymore. You know, like I feel like in today's generation, a lot of people miss that part. Like critical thinking, like that was a subject.
Where's the citywide test for critical thinking and reading comprehending and omission that don't need to be there? Where is that in school?
Critical thinking was an entire subject for us.
Yes. Some people now are not critical thinkers. And that sucks, because how are you going to get through life? How are you going to get through life? How are you going to think for yourself? How are you going to make it for yourself? That's why I can't work for nobody. I'm a critical thinker. I cannot do your critical job, sir. I need to critically think for myself and work for myself. I can never work for nobody, because that's just the way I think. I feel like I shouldn't help somebody with their dreams. I'm glad you have them, sir, but I got to do.
Like, you know, I got my own dreams.
I got
my own figure out.
I have to figure out, and if I have to take the time figuring it out on myself, then that's going to be way worth it than figuring out your. You know.
Would you say that's like the biggest lesson that life has taught you? Was to be that critical thinker? Was to be the person that pushed through? Was that person that no matter what you kept
and that comparing
back up?
is so key to when you do become successful, and then those little comparison demons start to, you know, are you doing this, or is this person doing better than you? Man, that would really mess you up. Is comparison. Like, just focus on you. Me, I have tunnel vision. I don't even know what anybody else is doing. I don't want to feel like any pressure. I need to apply my own pressure, and I don't want to see what anybody else is doing. It's just for my mental sake, because I know that messes with you. It has messed with me, and that was like the worst time of my like career, like not just doing me, like not just staying true to what I do and how I'm gonna do it, because that's how things flow better for me, and that's how it works. I feel like everybody who wants to train with somebody, for my instance, if you want to train with somebody, how do you choose a trainer? What do you do? Spin a wheel and, okay, this is my trainer? You gotta relate. You wanna, especially for me online, you have to be able to relate. You have to be able to like their vibe. I have to be able to deliver and it has to be reciprocated. All right. To me, I feel like if I'm myself, the vibe is always going to be there for the people it catches. And I am 100% fine with that. I don't need to have everybody. I need to have all my people rallied up, and we're working out together, and we're doing whatever. And I feel like that's how I will keep expanding. Yeah. You know, my work lives through other people. There's nothing, I can't show anything for myself other than my clients. Yeah. So it's super important how I conduct myself from internally to push back out on people, you know?
I wonder, I know you're not much of a planner, but I wonder, like, what are some of the things that you would want to do? Like, what are the next steps for you?
Man.
Where do you see yourself going with this? Like, how far are you trying to take this?
I would love, let me think. I don't have to think. My thinking is, do I want to say this out loud?
This is the platform to say something out loud.
I would love to have a total Bali training center in major cities, in areas of just everywhere. I want to exude that energy, and I want people to come together and feel it together in one room while I'm streaming online. I want to
love that.
I don't want to be, obviously I can't be everywhere, but you know what? My vibe can be. I want a training center, I don't know, Puerto Rico, a part of Brooklyn.
Let me know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be known for something, and I think I am known for something, and I want to drop it everywhere. And I want to be able to have people come to a place where they can have a sense of community in person. Because another thing that I noticed with being a trainer, which you don't think about this when you're a trainer, you bring so many people together. Definitely. So many like-minded people, or maybe not like-minded, and they learn. Like, it's a nice dynamic that I never thought of ever when I became a trainer. So if I can do that online, imagine what can be done when these girls are killing it together, side by side. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that, if there's anything that I think about, like, where I would want to go, like, that would be, like, my ending, like, that would be dope. Like, just, how do I do it? Like, you know, like, where do I start? The figuring out, it's just, like, something that I always think about.
Put in the equation.
Yeah. What do I need? I need this, that, whatever. How am I going to map it out? But I think I would love that. I would love that.
I think you would kill it.
I think so too. Yeah. I gotta figure it out, because I guess I am a planner when it comes to that. I want to make sure it works in all different ways, including me being like happy. Like, I don't want to take on something that's going to be too much for me, because wealth to me is also my time. So I got to make sure I can figure it out where it's not making me angry and sad and overwhelmed when I need that energy to give back.
Yeah, to fuel you.
Yes. So that's like where I'm like on defensive. But if I can figure it out, I would.
Let us know.
And I would do it. And I would love to have girls killing it together in a facility that's made just for that woman, like a Lucia Roberts, like on
Yeah, that would be dope.
on tea time, bro.
Yeah, that would
like,
be so dope.
come on, why, like, why are there no all women facilities? Like fire
I
ones.
feel like once COVID happened, people were like, do we really want to open back up? Do we want, like.
Just in general, even before COVID.
Yeah. but
Lucille
that's
Roberts
true.
is the only women's gym. Why? Ew.
Insane, right?
Why? Why is there not other women running stuff like this? And why am I not doing it? If anybody to do it, why am I not doing it? So
You
that's
have to do
something.
it.
Yeah, that's something I would love to do. I would love to do that.
Dope.
It would be fire. A bunch of beasts just killing it.
Yeah. How do you feel now that it's officially your first podcast interview and you killed this interview? So
Did I?
yes, you did amazing.
I feel great. I feel like I need to stop getting in my own head. I think that I overthink things, and I think I'm worried about showing myself, maybe, or I don't know what it is.
But we want to see you.
Is that what it is? Really?
We do want to see you because we see Bali, but
I don't know why.
But very few get to see Tina.
I know my friend Island. She goes, if people knew how you were, they would not believe it. They would, and I don't know. I just feel like I'm not anything. What do you say it? Like there's nothing to it with me. Like what am I going to talk about? What do you want to see?
So much.
It's that part is already on the forefront. Everything that's to me, it's already like displayed out. But there's just everything else. I'm just regular. Like I'm just regular. Like I like to just be like regular. I don't need to. I don't know how to explain it.
I do have a last question before I go into my rapid fire questions. And I said this is the only question
rapid fire questions.
Yeah, I do have a rapid fire question.
All right, let's do it.
But there is one before we get into the rapid fire. There's one question that I've been dying to know.
What?
Your playlist. You never share your playlist. You never ever share your. So for those of you that don't follow Tina, which you guys should be following Tina has like one of the best playlists that I've ever heard. Honestly, if you guys have a chance to hop into her virtual sessions, her playlist is fire. And everybody's always asking you about your playlist and you're like, I'm not going to share. Can you share today your playlist?
No.
Why don't you share your playlist?
You can come on and take my class. If you take my classes over and over, you can Shazam.
And it's like not even the same. Like you never use the same playlist. It's so weird.
It's the same vibe.
Yeah, it is the same
vibe. But the playlist comes from like my personality. Like my rah. Like it's it turns into a basement workout. So a part of that playlist to me feels like it's a part of my vibe. So if you want my playlist and take my class, it's a whole, for me it's a whole, it all comes together.
Yeah.
So no, I don't want to sell you my playlist. Just the way give you another perfect example, give you my playlist. Another perfect example is like when my programming, I don't want girls to just drop in for leg day. It's supposed to be a whole complete. This comes from a whole different place.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to get the whole vibe of everything that I'm offering, and the playlist is one of them.
Yo, the playlist is fire.
It hits different when you take my class too.
Yeah, the playlist does
hit the same.
No,
I can give it to you. It's not gonna hit the same on your time. That's how I feel.
The playlist is fire. I'm always like, damn, I wonder how long it takes for her to curate that playlist.
You know what? Right now, it's on. I have tons of playlists.
Oh, I know. I feel like you have a cleaning playlist. You have like
I have like driving.
Oh yeah,
I love my
I
driving playlist. Puerto Rico playlist, like when I want to be like calm and stuff. Music, it takes a lot to. A vibe is to be able to put a vibe into a string of songs. I don't want to give that list of playlists. I don't want to give that list out.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Do I sound terrible saying that? I feel terrible saying that.
I'm gonna get it, girls. Don't worry about it. We'll get it soon. But definitely take her class. You ready for the rapid fire questions? All right. Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina.
Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina. I am very... When you get me out my shell, I will say it how it is. And I think that's a very Latina trait. I will tell you how it is.
Spicy mommy.
Yes. In the nicest way possible.
Yeah. Favorite Spanish food?
Pollo guisado. That's my favorite food. And that's my favorite healthy Spanish food, by the way.
What's one thing you need in the morning?
Time to think. Time to think. I need my quiet time to think.
Favorite spot in Puerto Rico?
Oh my gosh.
I know that's hard.
There's so many.
I know, but you got to pick one.
Just one? Can I give a series of really fast? Just one?
Top 3.
Okay, top 3. All right, here we go. I like Anasco on the West Coast. It's like Rincon, but like the more quieter part. You get all the beauties that has to offer with it being gentrified, but without the gentrification. I love it. Vega Baja is one of my favorite beaches. I love it. It's one of my favorite places. And then I also love Luquillo. I love the chill vibe. I love Manabo too. It's like the Hawaii.
I said 3, girl.
All right, fine. That was 3. So I love, that was the West Coast, North, and South I gave you.
Okay, what is this chapter in your life called?
What's this chapter in my life called? Back to me, back to Tina. Bringing everything I learned from Bali back to me. So I guess back to me.
I love that. If you had an opportunity to have the Last Supper with 3 Latinas, who would it be?
It's Last Supper. Man, that's a tough one. I'm not sure where I want to go with this.
Dead or alive?
I definitely Celia Cruz. I want to know how. Does everybody say that?
Everyone says that.
I
I love that because she's like.
I want to know.
She would be my choice as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Rita Moreno.
Yes.
I can't even.
Rita Moreno.
Yes, thank you, Rita Moreno. I want to know how it was. I want to know how they got through everything and how they became so great. So that I want to sit down and have dinner and talk about that. And then you know who I admire, and I have to say it because I just admire her so much, Kiana. Yep.
Definitely.
We don't really talk. We talk, of course, but we're not, I don't, like every day, hey, what are you doing? But every time we do talk, it's all love. And it's always, to me, I think she has a great story. I think she does her thing. And I think she's super relatable to me.
Yeah.
And was one of my first role models. And I don't even think she knows this, right? But I do say this to people that I know. I mention her, like, I don't really idolize celebrities, right? Even though you should, right? Because you're still putting them in that place where you see them where they are now. But she was closer to me than anything. So I feel like I learned a lot from her. And I would love to sit down and chop it up.
That's a good table. That's a good table.
Yeah.
All right. What does it mean to you to be Latina?
Man, I think it's amazing. I think I'm Puerto Rican, so specifically New York Rican. And I love that I have, and this goes for, I don't know if this goes for everybody, but I love like the warmth of Latinas and the fire that we have. I feel like we're every kind of just everything, just everything. I love that we are nothing to be messed with. I love that we're strong. I love that we're sexy, even without having to be sexy, not vulgar sexy, just something about our fire that makes us sexy, right? And I think that the way we are, we're the most diverse group to me. We have a lot of Latinas, you know, especially Caribbean, have a lot of stuff mixed in with them. And I think we're like the most well-rounded, you know, community, and, you know, we can blend in anywhere. And I think that's so great. And I think that everybody who is Latino should feel like that. I feel like that. And New York weekend, I feel like I'm the best of both worlds. I feel like I have that tropical, cool vibe, but I'm also from Brooklyn, New York. So I have that hard edge, and I love to be a New York weekend. I feel like I have the best of both worlds, like streetwise and that tropical island life. It falls within me, and that is one of my favorite things about of who I am and where I come from and what I'm about. I think that all these different elements, that's the word I was looking for, all these different elements make up of a great person entirely. Not just me, just, you know, Latinas everywhere. We're so inspiring, and like we're just so full of life. If there's one thing, is like, don't lose that life like that we already have. It's just in us, you know?
Last question. Well, this is a finish this sentence. Finish this sentence.
Okay.
Growing up Latina is?
Growing up Latina is being able, and how am I going to put this? I can't put this into words. Being able to operate accordingly based on environment. I think we hold these qualities, and just being like a Renaissance woman, like being able to do anything, and that's it. I feel like we're great, and being Latina to me is just being like the versatile creatures that we are, and I love that everybody thinks we're spicy. Even when we're not spicy, you think you're spicy. So that's for me, you know? And so I love that.
Tina, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for
having
stepping
me.
out of your comfort zone.
Thank you. You made it very comfortable for me. You were super easy to talk to.
Thank you. Let everybody know where they could follow you.
Oh, is this the camera?
Yes.
So you can follow me at Bali Cabrera on Instagram, and that is where you would see all my daily workouts and just info to my training program. And at tinacabrera.com is where you'll see the actual information.
Yes.
Yay!
Thank you.